Alrighty, so on today's video, what I'll be covering is the news that the PS5 event has officially been postponed with no other date given at the current moment, which I honestly think it was the best thing Sony could have done right now with how all these crazy things are going on in the world, and hopefully sooner rather than later we'll be in a better place in this 2020 because it's definitely been a complicated 2020. But I also want to talk about the praising of the PS5's amazing architecture, which according to some developers, it is the best architecture in a console that they have ever seen in the history of consoles. This meaning that it will be quote-unquote easier for developers to develop games on the PS5 compared to the Xbox Series X. If some of you recall, back when the PS3 and Xbox 360 were in their current generation, the PS3 was under the cell processing architecture, which, from what I recall, there were always news and articles about the complaints of developers on how hard it was to create games under that architecture. This is why many of the third-party games used to run way better and smoother on the Xbox 360 and also looked a little better graphically. I especially remember Batman Arkham Asylum, how on the Xbox 360 whenever Batman would run, the cape looked perfectly fine, but on the PS3 you could see the shoulder popping like on the cape, and little things like that you can notice on third-party games that would run better on the Xbox 360 compared to the PS3. A main comparison you can see also is on Naughty Dog's games at the beginning of the era of the PS3 with a game like Uncharted Drake's Fortune, and how despite it looking good, it looked a little cartoony, since according to Naughty Dog, they were only using about 30% of the cell's processor's power compared to the last game in the PS3 generation, which was The Last of Us, where you can tell a huge difference on the graphical capability. I mean, The Last of Us still, in my opinion, looks better than some games that were developed on the PS4 at the beginning of that era, which shows you how the cell processor was truly powerful if it was used correctly. The only downfall of it was that it was very complicated, as I mentioned, for developers to develop games on it. Even though the PS5's new architecture is said to be the best one, the console, yes, will still have limited backwards compatibility from what has been announced so far, meaning only PS4 games will be compatible and no PS3, PS2, and PS1 games will be able to be played as of what we know right now, unless they end up, announcing something different at this PlayStation 5 event. This in comparison to what Microsoft has announced with the Xbox Series X, that will be fully compatible with all the games that are able to be played in the Xbox One, including all the games of Xbox 360 and the original Xbox that are compatible with Xbox One, which will now have increased resolutions, HDR support, and increased frame rates. But either way, nostalgia aside, for the future of gaming, I think this is great news, at least for the PlayStation 5, that it is developer friendly and future games will be able to be created, hopefully better than ever, and with less bugs and issues when launched, more stable frame rates, and just simply better looking graphically. This is why I'm hoping that with the power of the new SSD, that they're able to use this also not only to focus on better graphics for games, but have that additional memory that they've talked about to also improve the AI in games drastically, or if you have a companion in the game, such as in the Uncharted games or the Last of Us, they end up moving a little more realistic and don't just do random things that take you out of the fantasy of the realism in the game. Maybe to add more realistic animations and mechanics and realistic movement of characters as well, which obviously we've come a long way in how games look and feel, and there's better acting as well. And since the SSD is supposed to be very, very fast from what has been said, I'm hoping to see in open world games no more pop-ups like we currently see in many of them. If they're able to get to that point in gaming where you're driving a car in GTA or riding your horse in Red Dead Redemption, that you don't see random grass popping up or random trees or buildings or non-playable characters. I think that will be a huge step forward, for which I'm sure that it is not an issue on high-end PCs, but for us console fellas, it still is. So besides the architecture of the console being praised, I did end up reading more news related to the pricing of the PS5, which for those people that were hoping that the price would be approximately $400, it doesn't sound like that is going to be the case at all, as Sony's Interactive Entertainment CEO Jim Ryan has mentioned that the pricing of the console will represent quote-unquote value, and does not believe that the current world health situation will necessarily affect sales. So this to me says that the console will more than likely be at approximately $500 US, I would think. So here are a couple quotes from Jim Ryan in regards to the pricing of the console. Jim Ryan said, "I think the best way that we can address the economic issues for consumers, is by providing the best possible value proposition that we can. I don't necessarily mean lowest price," said Ryan, warning that the console will likely set gamers back a substantial amount at launch. Value is a combination of many things. In our area, it means games. It means number of games, depth of games, breadth of games, quality of games, price of games, all of these things, and how they avail themselves of the feature set of the platform. So basically, you want good value. This is going to cost a little more than expected, which honestly, I'm fine with paying more money if the value is there. I mean, great quality products do not come at a cheap price, so I'm not going to be complaining much on that aspect as a consumer of this product. But if you think about it, as long as you don't get a dud, if you do take care of your console, this electronic device should be lasting you many, many years. I mean, I bought my PS4 back in December 2014, and thankfully, crossed my fingers, and it's still running smoothly, thankfully. All right, so there you have it, guys. A little update on what Jim Ryan has to say about the console. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what PlayStation is going to end up showing about their console. Unfortunately, they ended up canceling the event for this Thursday, but at least they did it with, it's for a good reason. I think it's the right choice for them to actually cancel the event, not have people focus on that right now and focus on the more important things that are going on in the world. So hopefully soon they'll end up showing us what they were going to show, and leave our jaws dropping and show us more about the whole console, how it works, and the UI especially. I'm really curious to see how much better it's going to be, how much faster it is, and the whole sharing. I want to see that as well. Hopefully it's easier now to record games and share it on YouTube or whatever other platform. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please make sure you smash that like button if you enjoyed the video and the information, and please subscribe to the channel as well to get more information and future videos, including more news and more gameplay of other games I've been playing around. Take care. Bye-bye.